Yo, yo, yo. What is going on, everybody? How y'all been? Scott, we made it.
We did.
We made it through our Halloween show. And, now we're into the November and the November.
the November. On the D. Yeah.
Yes. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in once again to All Pucked Up, brought to you by MyGarageBar.com and, of course, Disruption Network. Thanks to those guys for once again having us. I didn't know if they were going to do that after the Halloween show. After I dressed like a hot dog, I was like,
well,
getting the walking papers after that show.
How did trick-or-treating treat you, by the way?
Trick-or-treating didn't treat me well because I got called to go work at the casino, and no such thing.
Well, they must have saw that hot dog costume and said, we got to have this guy here. Halloween night, got to have him here.
Let me introduce you in here, man. Mr. Scott Kimville, back with us once again. Dude, so you have been a very busy person the last couple of days, obviously.
Well, yeah, everybody who's in the local area knows we had some flooding going on. Yep. And I'm a fireman down in Little Falls, and so we were quite busy with water all weekend. That was our trick or treat, whatever,
Yeah, trick
unfortunately.
or treat. You get a flood.
Yeah.
Horrible.
So, feel, all our thoughts and prayers go out to everybody who got affected by that flood, and hopefully recover soon enough. So
absolutely. And you mentioned that was on Halloween. I feel really stupid because I got called into work like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, pretty much every day. So I'm up at the casino. I didn't even know it was raining out.
Yeah.
And I got a call from Erica from 3 and Out, and she said, "Oh, it's flooding out. It's getting really bad. Are you stuck at the casino?" And I had no idea. I was like, flooding from what? It's raining?
Right. Well, then it did it all over again the next night.
Yeah, it
was,
It's been crazy. So, bad times around this area. So, I had to tell you two things, first of all. We got to do a little bit of a mini plug and
do it
for a show coming up here. And I can't give away too much. It's supposed to be tomorrow. We're making like the official announcement and everything. But we're calling it our Avengers show. And that's going to be coming up very soon, our Avengers show. There's like a whole theme that goes with it. And it should be interesting, man. I'm going to tell you. The whole premise is that our last benefit show got kind of rained out. And we really didn't do as great as we wanted to. And so we have to go and get our big guns, our heroes, and call them in.
Ooh, there you
call
go.
them in basically to save our ass. And we're going to get the big boys from yesteryear. We got a bunch of bands coming in. So
very cool.
Stay tuned for that. It should be out, I think, in the next 2 days. I'll
really?
Make that announcement. So
nice.
Yeah, so that is thing number one that I wanted to talk about. And number two is my own self-gratification here. I just dipped underneath 220 pounds for the first time in 5 years.
Hey, all right. Congratulations.
I don't know how I'm doing it, to be honest with you, because I went out and ate a half a pizza and about 20 wings last night and half a bottle of soda, and here I am, 219.
And really?
Yeah, man. I started out at the beginning of the hockey season. Well, probably the beginning of football season. It was about 235.
Wow.
And just a constant stress. Stress is a hell of a motivator, man.
You are getting into playing shape now.
I don't know about all that.
I think so. I think you're ready to go.
The last time I was up playing ball hockey.
Come on. I keep trying to talk you into coming back.
I swear to God, 2 minutes, not even 2 minutes, 30 seconds I was out there.
Well, you weren't that bad.
Yeah, I had literally just hopped onto the floor, trotted out into the middle of the gym, and I was like, wow, this is exhausting. It was bad. It was really. And do you remember that?
Yeah.
I was so gassed by the end of my first 2-minute shift. The ball went through my legs, and I was I was just jelly. And I turned around to get it, and I fell on the floor.
Well, I looked over and you were gone. I thought you had just gone to the bathroom or something.
I was probably laying behind the dasher. It's I'm done with this game. Makes so much more sense for a fat guy like me to watch it on TV. Anyways, so you guys probably noticed Yoshi not joining us today. He actually is a little bit under the weather. I think he might have what we had.
Maybe
swine, bird, flu.
Well, whatever it is, hope you get better, Yosh.
Yeah.
Real quick, but glad you're not here to spread it around.
Absolutely. And he also got a little bit affected by the flu.
Yeah.
So he'll take the week off, and we'll catch up with him next.
So long as his Ottawa Senators jersey was okay.
Don't want to lose that.
That's what counts.
Do not want to lose that, man. And, oh, boy. But we got a great show today, I think. we're still going to stick with the theme that we were talking about this week earlier, which is contenders and pretenders for this year. And you have to go with that. After doing a Halloween show of those epic proportions that we just pulled out, where do you go with it? You got to go with contenders and pretenders. So, you know.
Well, the thing is, I mean, they always say in hockey jargon that by American Thanksgiving, the teams that are in playoff spots will usually end up being in the playoffs. So we're just kind of jumping the gun a little bit. That's all.
That's true. We never actually had a
preview show, really.
Preview show for this year because we started late.
Right.
So, yeah, I think that's it's only fitting that we do a contenders and pretenders.
All pucked up first in line. That's what we are.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We're leading the curve, or what are they?
Yeah,
we're innovators.
We're ahead of the curve.
There you ahead of the curve.
Just got to watch it. Our NHL network stealing our ideas or anything, right?
They do.
Sure.
They freaking do. Every time we come up with a show, or I should say you come up with a show, it's like 3 weeks later, I see them and they got the same segments as us.
Yeah, I was about to lose my mind last year, but that's, hey, whatever.
Damn you, NHL Network. Just give us a call. We're here. We're ready. Or at least he is. I can just follow along. So I did get Yoshi's picks.
Okay.
Because I know he was going to come in. He was going to talk about him, and then he got the swine flu and lost his voice. So let's start out by talking about the East Conference this year. And we've got our pretenders and our contenders. I asked you before during the week to come up with 3 of each for each conference. So 3 pretenders from the East, 3 contenders from the East, and then after the break, we'll go to the West. But for now, let's start out with your pretenders, I guess we'll go.
Okay.
And your first pretender, sir.
My first pretender, first and foremost, is the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Okay. Now,
Toronto Maple, I'm telling you, this is a team that no matter what they do, they just cannot seem to get over the hump.
Right.
They really can't. I mean, they went up and they beefed up in the offseason, right? They went and got Tyson Barrie. You know, they brought in Jason Spezza, which is a good depth move. You know, they traded out Nazem Kadri to get Barry, but they also brought in Kerfoot. You know, and everybody's like, oh, okay, good. They got the depth now. They're past this whole William Nylander drama thing going on. Right. They finally got Mitch Marner into camp. Everything was going to work out just fine. And they're the same team.
Well, let me ask you: Are you saying that you don't think they're a playoff team? They're not a playoff team at all, or they're just not a?
They're going to make the playoffs. There's way too much offensive firepower for them to not make the playoffs. And I understand they've been up without John Tavares for a couple of weeks. Right. I get that. That's a big loss.
Which was it? Broken hand?
Yeah, he had his finger.
Broken finger.
Yeah. So
really? Yeah. Finger? I always thought it was his hand.
It wasn't okay. Well,
no, I think you're right. It is a finger. But.
The dreaded upper body injury. Because we know how exact hockey injuries are when they're announcing them, right? Mm-hmm. But the thing is, this team just looks like the same middling team that they've looked like for the past couple of years.
Yeah.
You know, one night they're world beaters. The very next night they look like they could be beat by a high school team. And I just don't get it. I really don't. And I understand Toronto's probably the toughest market in the league to play in.
Right. I'm just going to say.
You know, they're in a constant fishbowl. So when they're playing great, it's amplified to the max.
Yeah.
And when they're playing bad, well, it's amplified to the max. Okay.
Doom and gloom.
Exactly. But the thing that I see with them is if something were to happen to Freddie Anderson, that team is sunk.
Right.
They're sunk. Freddie Anderson holds them in a lot of games. And I'm honestly, and this might be a little bit of sacrilege in Toronto, I'm starting to wonder if maybe Mike Babcock's not a little overrated.
Really?
I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you. Because
you might not make Detroit fans happy with that comment either.
A Detroit fan, well, I bet you they wish they had him back right now.
Absolutely.
But when you have this much talent on that roster and you can't get over the hump year after year after year, maybe there is a little something to it being behind the bench. You have to get through to these players, whether it be changing the X's and O's, changing your system, something. But something's got to give on that in that Toronto team because you're playing in basically the toughest division in hockey,
right? Being the
Atlantic Division. There is no gimmies, really, and you got to be able to perform night after night after night to stay in contention. And I'll tell you, if they start to slip a little bit, there's way too much around them for them to be able to kind of slide in just like, it was always a given, right? You were going to have Tampa Bay, Boston, Toronto.
Right.
That's been the given for the past 3 years. Those givens are out the window now. They really are.
True.
Buffalo's resurgent. Okay, I'm not sure that they're going to be able to keep this up all year long, but they're a dangerous team. Florida's gelling together now after that little bit of a stumble out of the blocks.
Yep.
Okay. I don't want to give away anything else.
Right.
I don't want to give it away, but
you start saying teams.
I know. Whoa, stop.
Pump the brakes. Yeah.
But Detroit had a decent start, but they're kind of falling. The train's starting to fall off the tracks a little bit.
I'll tell you,
and I'll tell you why. We were picking on Yoshi for his Ottawa jersey.
Mm-hmm.
Ottawa plays hard every single night. That's a hard combination to go against. They don't have all the best talent in the world.
Yeah, I think
they don't.
Very last place. In the
no,
NFL right
but you know what? They play hard every night.
Yeah,
and within a couple of years, don't sleep on the Ottawa Senators.
No,
they've got 12, 13 picks in this upcoming draft,
and they've beat the pants off the Rangers the other night.
Last night, they really did. And I got to go on a little sidebar about that. Sorry, Z.
Oh, that's right. Z's a Rangers fan.
Yeah, I was talking with a buddy of mine Friday night who is this huge Rangers fan, like almost delusional.
Yeah.
Right? And he was telling me in the locker room, because I told you I went and played hockey Friday night. He was telling me in the locker room how Alexander Georgiev, is going to get them this huge haul at the trade deadline because he's going to be the goaltender that everybody's looking for. We're bringing up Shoshorskin because he's ruined the AHL, blah, 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 blah.
He got shelled the other
Whoa, did he ever.
What did he give up, 6?
Yeah, 6 to the Ottawa Senators. Yeah. I'm not saying he's a bad goalie because he really is a good young goaltender, and the Rangers would be able to get a decent haul back, but they're not going to get a first rounder for him or anything like that, especially with a market coming up that's going to be flooded with goaltenders. Anyways, off that sidebar.
Well, let me ask you a quick question. Do you think Toronto would they pull the plug on Babcock?
I think so, and I'll tell you why. They have Sheldon Keefe at the AHL level, Toronto Marlies. He's been a guy that's been on the radar for a head coaching job for the past couple of seasons. And for whatever reason, he just didn't get the ones that came up.
Right.
But he's not going to be in the AHL forever. He really isn't. And I'm here to tell you, especially if Toronto, and they'll make the playoffs. They will.
Yeah.
If they have another first-round exit, and especially to the Bruins again.
Yeah, that could get nasty. That could, especially with that media.
Babsox is going to have to pack that suitcase. Remember that last year, that whole thing with Babsox?
Yeah.
I think they're going to get put in a washer or dryer and sent out of town, to be honest with you.
All right, so Toronto, you're calling pretender. All right, let's go on. And I should tell you, too, that Yoshi absolutely agreed with you. So you guys were both on board with Toronto.
Ding, 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 ding.
Okay, and the next one, you're about to break my heart. Go ahead. Who's your next one?
The Pittsburgh Penguins.
All right, you're going to have to argue this one. Go ahead. What?
Yep. No, hey, they've had a great start.
Mm-hmm.
They really have. They've had players come up from the minors. Teddy Bluger, I think that's how you say his name, right?
Teddy Bluger.
Bluger, sorry.
Yep.
And that seems to be the Penguins' way all the time, right? Get hit with injuries, so what? We'll pluck somebody out of the minors. We'll pluck somebody off the scrap heap. They're almost like the New England Patriots of hockey.
Yeah, they are. Especially,
they really are.
Wilkes-Barre, they've had some depth down there.
Exactly.
About it. So,
but eventually, it's going to catch up. It's going to catch up. And you see Malkin's back from his injury now, but how long is he going to be back for?
Well, he's back. Letang's out.
Exactly. This is what I mean. This team it's like dominoes on that team, The only one that doesn't seem to get hurt, knock on wood, is Crosby. Thank God for you guys.
Absolutely.
Right?
Thank God.
Because, if Crosby went down, look out.
Yeah.
But you know what? Matt Murray doesn't look himself anymore.
No, he doesn't.
He doesn't. And, and that's weird to say for, 24, 25 years old? Won 2 Stanley Cups?
Yeah.
But all of a sudden you're starting to look at him going, is he really the guy?
It makes me kind of, and I think every Penguins fan has always said this, going back a few years when Vegas came in and took Fleury, you almost second guess that. And if I remember right.
But you're in that particular time, though, how do you leave a 2-time Stanley Cup winning goaltender that's, 22 at that time, unprotected in the expansion draft? How do you do it?
He had...
you can't.
At that time, I think they said he had technically won 2 cups in his what would have been his rookie year.
Right.
Because...
Marc-Andre Fleury had a big hand in both of those cups because he got injured in both of those years. Murray did, and Fleury stood in and won. What was it, 2 or 3 series? Overall, right? Something like that.
He jumped out towards. I can't remember what it was. Maybe it was the Capital Series.
Maybe it was. But anyways, point being was Murray is one of those guys that needs to have a legit backup.
Yes.
Is Tristan Jarry the guy? I don't know. I don't know if I want to. If I'm the Penguins, I want to put all my faith in that.
Yeah.
But apparently they're going to, because I was reading some of the rumor mills going around this morning and all that, and apparently the Penguins are looking for help up front, which is interesting,
really?
Considering they just got Brian Rust back.
Yep.
Nick Bustad's back.
Yep, you're right.
But I guess they're not satisfied with what they're getting from their forwards. So they're in the market. What they're going to give up, I don't know. I really don't.
You're talking Rutherford, so it could be.
It could be anything. I mean, and I'll give Jim Rutherford credit. He's a very, very, very good general manager. Always seems to manage to pull the rabbit out of the hat.
Absolutely does.
He does.
Nope.
But the reason I put Pittsburgh in as a pretender, and I guess pretender is a bit harsh of a word, given the pedigree that they have and all that. Despite the start, I'm sorry, but the Pittsburgh Penguins just don't scare me anymore.
Okay.
They don't, because you can predict the Pittsburgh Penguins, right? They start off great.
Yeah.
And then by Thanksgiving, they go to sleep for about a month and a half.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Right?
Absolutely they do.
They come back, they win, they can't be beaten for 2 or 3 weeks, then they go to sleep for another 2 weeks. And then by the last month of the season,
they
come right back out. They kick it on, and there they are. What's going to happen if they go to sleep and all of a sudden they can't kick it back on? It's going to happen one of these years.
Absolutely.
I'm convinced of that. And so
it was a dogfight last year towards the end.
Exactly. And we saw what happened in the first round.
Yeah. Who was it? It was Columbus, I think, was competing with them all year last
year. It was Columbus, and then Florida had snuck into the race.
Yep.
And I believe Montreal was snipping at their heels for the longest time there. So again,
I won't disagree with you. They can get very lazy.
And I've been saying the whole time along, as far as the Eastern Conference goes, both of those wild card spots are coming out of the Atlantic Division. There's not a doubt in my mind about that. So to make the playoffs out of the Metro, you're going to have to get one of those top 3 spots.
Yeah.
And there's some very good teams in the Metro. Not quite as good as the Atlantic. But when you're dogfighting with those other teams in your division, and you got pretty good parity, all it takes is one losing streak, and you're out, buddy. That's
very true.
That's why I'm putting it in. Like I said, pretender might be a bit harsh of a word, but let's not put it in marker. Oh, the Penguins are going to the playoffs. I'm going to get my Sharpie out, because that's not the case anymore.
Well, it's funny, and I think back to last season, there was a couple teams that went on little mini runs. I think the Rangers at one point had a 10-game winning streak, and then the Flyers, which is kind of. I don't predict it's happening this year with these guys, but you never know. Never know if they.
The thing with the Flyers is, it's going to depend on Carter Hart.
Yeah,
I hate to see if he's going to hit if he's hitting his sophomore slump right now.
He most certainly is.
When you got, the Penguins beat the crap out of them the other night. What was it, 7-0, I think, or 7-1, or something like that, right?
I want to say they've taken a lot of games like that, actually, where there's been like bigger.
Yeah, you're going to have to depend on Brian Elliott to keep you in the playoff race.
That's rough.
I don't know.
Yeah,
and like I said, the Penguins still have, obviously they're above 500 right now.
Yeah,
and I don't. Did you get to watch the game last night?
I got to watch. It's
the second period. It was just like somebody took them to the ER and revived them. They ended up losing the game, but hey, like I said, not trying to take anything away from your team, Rich. I'm not trying to break your heart over there, bud.
No,
I just don't think it's a given.
Okay,
that the Penguins are in.
Okay,
that's all I'm saying.
And obviously, it looks like Yoshi agrees with you. So here I am, outnumbered on my own show.
Yep. How do you like that?
Okay. Now I'm going to tell you in advance that you and Yoshi finally had a difference here.
Okay.
He has Buffalo. As his third pretender.
That's legit. That's a legit concern.
Could go.
Because like I said, out of that Atlantic, that Atlantic is ridiculously tough.
Right.
And
we've seen Buffalo.
Get everybody's hopes up. They're, Charlie Brown and Lucy.
Yeah.
Right? Don't worry, I'm going to hold the football this time. And here comes the Buffalo Sabres, Charlie Brown, coming up. They're going to kick the football, and they end up flat on their backs.
And last year, they started out the season ridiculously hot.
They did.
And we were really up on them. We were saying.
Yeah, I was on that bandwagon big time.
We were all saying, wow, this is the year that maybe they've turned the corner, and all those years of draft picks and everything else have finally, they're going to pay fruition here. And, this is going to be the year. And then they just...
Two things about that, though. There's two things. Number one, they have a new head coach.
Okay.
Ralph Kruger, who's not known to be the X's and O's type of coach, but from what I've been reading from Buffalo reports and all that, this guy can get anybody to run through a brick wall. He's like a motivational type of speaker and all that, which on a young team like the Sabres have, that really is a huge difference right there.
Right.
They did a great job of upgrading their defense in the offseason, which is what they really needed to do.
Yeah.
Bringing in a Colin Miller, who's still susceptible to taking some stupid penalties. I was watching the Sabres game last week, and I'm like, oh, my God. Somebody please just tell him being in the box is not a good idea.
Right.
Brandon Montour's coming back. He just came back a couple games ago, actually. Now Marco Scandella is out for him, of course. But Rasmus Dahlin is every bit the superstar he was advertised to be.
Right.
This kid is an amazing skater. I talked about this before. This kid's going to be a shining star in this league. And it was pretty smart of them to hang on to Rasmus Ristolainen. It really was. But the number two thing about the Sabres team last year, and it's just what we talked about, when they went off the cliff, that actually could have been a blessing in disguise. Because if you take those young players like a Jack Eichel, a Sam Reinhart, those guys that lived through that last year, and they're going to say, okay, we went through this before, we got to learn from this now.
Right, I get you.
So could be the silver lining on the cloud, basically, from last year. So hopefully, Buffalo, this is your year, because like I've said 1,000 times, that is a great hockey town, and they deserve to have a winner there.
They do.
So.
They absolutely do. So no, I'm sorry. Yoshi said Buffalo. You said Boston.
Yeah. I know.
That's not going to sit
and here
with
comes
the people.
Here comes the sanity test, right?
Yes.
Let me clarify this. I am in no way, shape, or form calling the Boston Bruins a pretender. This is more of a buyer beware. Okay. They're what, 10-1?
Yeah.
No. Okay. You know what this reminds me of? You know what this really reminds me of? Tampa Bay last year.
Ooh. Okay.
It does. Everything is going right for the Bruins right now. Everything. What scares me about the Boston Bruins, something happens to that top line. Where in the heck is their scoring going to come from? Granted, they got David Krejci back, and he's looked pretty good so far.
Right.
Jake DeBrusk is finally starting to pick it up a little bit, but after that, where? Charlie Coyle is a great player, but he's not, a 50-point scorer for you. Okay? I very much so worry about that. And the Bruins seems like just about more than almost any other team are so susceptible to injuries.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Every year it seems Bergeron misses time. Every year Torrey Krug's out. Every year Charlie McAvoy almost got taken out on down to the locker room last night. I was watching that game. At some point that's going to catch up too. What's holding them in right now is they have a fantastic 1-2 punch in the net.
Right.
And I mean that line of Bergeron, Pastrnak, and Marchand,
top notch.
They're like the Harlem Globetrotters right now. I mean, it's ridiculous watching them, And so, like I said, the Bruins will make the playoffs.
Yeah.
They may even win that division. But just pump the brakes a little bit because everything's going way too right.
Okay. All right.
Way too right.
The only thing I can say that you
and they're living on the power play right now too.
The only thing 30%. You said earlier that they would be they could be susceptible to the same thing as Tampa last year, or so, how you phrased. I don't remember, but
it reminds me of Tampa.
It reminds you of Tampa. The only thing I could say that might help them out is they can grind.
Sure.
Whereas
absolutely.
Tampa, we've said it before. When you get into the they are soft. That's the best way.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Tampa fans, but
no need to go into something like
there. I said it. Okay,
they're soft, and we saw it last year. They got
the other thing with the Bruins too. They have played an awful lot of hockey over the past 3 seasons. Okay, so you're coming out of the gates hot and fast right now, coming off of a little bit of rest in the off season. How's that going to start affecting them come January, February, and all that?
Yeah.
When you've gone deep playoff runs for the past 3 seasons, and that's almost like playing an entire extra season on top of everything else. Like I said, the Bruins are a great team. They're going to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Just pump the brakes.
Okay. All right.
Pump the brakes because eventually this is all going to kind of start balancing out with each other. And I'm just saying. And by the way, Bruins fans, before you hate me anymore, you don't want to win the President's Trophy.
No.
You don't want that damn thing, okay?
Get that damn thing away.
Exactly. Give it to somebody else. Let the Sabres win it.
Let Tampa take it.
Yeah, right.
It obviously worked out great.
I think Tampa has, as a group, decided they don't want it. by the way they're playing.
I know. Yeah. All right, so let's jump over. We have our contenders that we're going to do for this, and you and Yoshi, you guys agreed on 2 of them. So
wow, again?
Yeah. So it's hilarious. Actually, we'll just sum this right up. His first contender that you are not on board is Boston. We just talked to him.
Right.
He likes them.
Well, that's legit. Yeah, that's legit. I mean, you can't like I just said, you cannot deny that the Bruins are a fantastic team.
Yeah,
they are. And Yosh is very correct in saying, hey, they're a contender. I mean, I could be completely wrong. My prediction could blow up in my face. Mm-hmm. Wow, what a surprise, right?
Shocking.
No way. But no, I mean, that's if everything continues to go right, and if they can avoid the injury bug. And it could very well be a complete 180 from what I said.
You guys both had Washington, of course. Mm-hmm. And I don't think we have to kill this because that's pretty much a gimme. We all know Washington is coming back with the same guys for the most part that they've had for the past couple seasons.
This is going to be their last year of that.
Yeah.
This will be their last year of that because you got Braden Holtby and Nicholas Backstrom, who are both going to be unrestricted free agents at the end of this season.
Oh, I didn't know they were both. Ooh, that's yikes.
The thing with Washington, John Carlson has pretty much been the best of it. We talked about him last week. He's been the best defenseman in the league, hands down. They're getting contributions across the board. I think, personally, they had the best third line in hockey. That line of Eller, Dowd, and Hagelin has been outstanding for them. It really has. And Ilya Samsonov has been a revelation for them. They drafted him in the first round, I believe it was in 2014, with the idea that maybe someday he'll be the goalie of the future.
Right.
The future is getting close.
The future's here.
Yeah, I think so. And I think that they're going to let Holtby walk at the end of the season and just give this kid the net. You're going to want to keep Holtby around for one more run, though. Keep the guy who's got playoff experience.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I mean, especially with a Washington team that is built for now. They are built for right now. So,
well, we've talked about it, too. I mean, there's been times when Holtby, you're about to give up on him.
Oh, absolutely.
They put him in net, and all of a sudden he turns into a freaking wall.
Yeah. I mean, I got a buddy of mine who's a big Cavs fan. Hi, Ben. How are you? He's a huge Cavs fan, and he's got about our Cap 77 in our league.
Oh, I'm playing him right now.
Yeah, so I hope he beat you because you're leading me in the division. So,
yeah, you know who's carrying me? Kemper.
Yeah, no,
my boy Kemper.
Yeah. So maybe you should have mentioned him on the Halloween show last week.
I should have.
So. But no, it's he's so aggravated with Holtby, he wanted to drop him. I'm like, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
go right ahead.
Let me know.
I got the claim button ready to go.
Let me know when that'll happen.
You know how it's been fantastic for Washington, Michael Kempny.
Yeah.
Very quietly.
Yep.
Very quietly, but he's been outstanding. He really has.
Well, you guys both had Washington, and I think that's a gimme. We all know they're going to be right there at the end, barring some like disastrous injury,
right?
Whatever. I mean, injuries obviously can always throw this completely off, but right now the future looks completely fine for them. And the other one you guys both agreed on was the Islanders.
Yes, sir.
And I can't argue with that either. They're lighting it up right now. So.
And the Islanders are more of an old school team than just about any team in the league.
Yeah.
Right. Now the whole idea is, you got to have a loaded top six, and we got to run and gun, and we got to. Barry Trotz says, yeah, well, you know what? I'm sticking with what I've been doing for the past 18 years or whatever, and still the play is a whole team, 5-man units, roll 4 lines, play solid defense. It's still a winning formula.
Yeah.
It still is.
And we said last year when he started kind of bringing this team around.
Yeah.
Because I think we were all wondering where the talent was going to come from early on. We said,
absolutely.
Wow, you just got rid of Tavares. Who's gonna pick it up?
Right.
And then Trotz came in, changed that whole mentality on that team.
Yeah.
And he's like the team whisperer, or whatever you want, the hockey
whisperer. Is. It's crazy, right?
And they all bought into the system, and man, it's insane.
I'll tell you, they made like an under the radar signing in the offseason that's really proven to be very good for him. Mm-hmm. Is Derek Brassard.
Yeah,
he's given them a little bit of depth that they needed, especially down the middle. Right. They did a smart thing by not keeping Joshua Sang around for all that drama and nonsense. took a big chance, sent him down to Bridgeport because he could have been picked up on waivers.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, his reputation's following him around, so he's back down in Bridgeport. Hopefully, for that kid's sake, he can get his head together and maybe just, listen, I just want to play hockey because he's a phenomenal talent.
Yeah.
And if that could ever happen, kid's got, 30, 40 goal scorer potential written all over him. But that notwithstanding, he's in Bridgeport. Who cares? We're not going to talk about that. But their goaltending, once again, has been outstanding. Remember, everybody was worried when Leonard signed with the Chicago?
Yes.
Oh, my God, what are we going to do now? We got Varlamov. Oh, he's up and down. He's this and that. Well, that 1-2 with Grice has been the perfect combination for them. It really has.
It's a 1-2 punch that they're and they flip-flop them all
every game. It's and it doesn't wear Varlamov out. Right. Grice is used to this by now with this one-on, one-off, one-on, one-off.
Yep.
And they're both at, 2.14 for goals against average. They're both lights out. So neither one of them are going to be worn out by the time the playoffs roll around. Yep. I like, as a whole, what the Islanders have done. I really do. And the thing I remember, too, is looking forward, going to the trade deadline, if they decide they need a little bit more scoring or whatever, they've got cap space to work with, and they got some picks they can.
That is true.
So look for the Islanders to make that. We'll talk about that later down the road.
Yeah. I'm kind of on board with the Isles too, and I wish Dan Mahoney, our friend, is like the biggest Isles fan out there. I wish he was watching right now because we totally bring him into this conversation.
Well, and that's just it too with that Metro division though too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So that third spot's still wide open, even though I think it's going to come down to Carolina and Philly and Pittsburgh.
Really? Okay.
And Pittsburgh, sorry. I just wanted to leave you cliffhanging there for a second.
I didn't think you were going to say Philly in that last conversation there.
I think so. For some reason, I think I don't know what it is. Maybe it's AV or so. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you also have Montreal in that conversation.
Yes, sir.
That was your third pick. Mm-hmm. So why Montreal?
This is an exciting team. They have a vastly underrated top six. Mm-hmm. Max Domi has been just amazing coming over from Arizona, right?
Yep.
Tell me they didn't win that trade. Domi for Galchenyuk?
Yeah, absolutely did.
My God, right?
Yeah. I know.
Yeah, sorry.
I know all too well.
Jonathan Drouin has found his game again.
Yes.
He's found his game. Brandon Gallagher's always been a solid winger. Always has been. All right? Paul Byron's a great penalty killer. Mm-hmm. Yoel Armia. Where'd this guy come from, right? But, hey, look, he's doing it.
Yeah.
He's doing it. And that's another team that plays as a team. They're able to roll four lines, too. Not quite to the extent of the Islanders, but they're still able to do it. And they still have Carey Price.
Getting a little longer
he is, but you know what? Don't sleep on him.
No, you're right.
It's hard to sleep on somebody who last year he battled a lot of injuries too. Mm-hmm. All right. Keith Kincaid's going to be able to fill in for him here and there to give him a little bit of a rest.
I think they have to really play him sparingly.
I think so. I think so. But I think for right now, I think you sprinkle him in so you don't wear Price out.
Right.
To be perfectly honest with you. Okay. I said it before. That's going to be one of my wild card teams coming out of the East. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you. I'm all in for this Montreal train.
I can see it in your face. You're passionate about this.
I'm feeling it.
Okay.
And boy, could you imagine the press up in Canada if it ends up being Montreal that knocks Toronto out of the wild card spot? Could you imagine that?
Oh.
How cool would that be?
Oh.
Although ideally, I'd like to see like a 2-3 matchup to start off.
Yeah.
Toronto losing to Montreal this time and just watching everybody's heads explode after that.
Hey, listen, so I was just looking at the time. I didn't realize we're already way over on this. So we got to get to your trivia. Do you have trivia?
I do have trivia.
Okay.
We got some breakaway trivia for you guys.
Yeah, you know what? I think we have a thing here. There's something labeled Scott's segment on here. I'm afraid to push it. Should I push it?
Yeah.
Let's see what happens.
Do it.
Who the hell are you?
That's...
You know.
I didn't pick that music.
That's totally Ray Nation's music for our next
I was going to say, wait a minute. I don't want Ray being mad thinking I'm trying to steal his music.
That's all right. Hey, the button was there and I pushed it.
Right.
Let's just figure out what we got.
All right.
What's your trivia, man?
So breakaway trivia, you guys know the rules. I'm the goalie. You're on a breakaway against me. To light the lamp, you got to answer my question correctly. So here we go. Got the Hughes brothers that are lighting up the league so far. Well, at least Quinn Hughes. Jack Hughes is starting to come around. Famous brothers, right? We've had the Hanson brothers, other famous brothers combinations. In the early 1980s, there were 3 brothers that came over from Czechoslovakia to play for the Quebec Nordiques. One of them is a Hockey Hall of Famer. What I want to know is, who are they? Do you know? Do you light the lamp? We'll find out when we come back.
And we're back. Thanks once again for those people who just joined us. And welcome back to All Pucked Up, brought to you by MyGarageBar.com. And, of course, Disruption Network. I got to tell you real quick, thank you once again to Chicken and Todd and Z for having us, man. We definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
This is great.
Yeah, good stuff.
You know, we had fun doing the podcast in the garage bar, but this is a real awesome thing to be able to do it in a studio, being live. Everybody could see us.
Yeah,
Well, I don't know
totally
if it's necessarily their treat being able to see us, but it's our treat being able to talk to you. So.
Absolutely. So you have an answer for us. Yeah?
I do.
Let's
The answer to breakaway trivia was. You want me to read the question again?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So the question was, there were 3 brothers that defected from Czechoslovakia in the early 1980s to come play in the NHL. They played for the Quebec Nordiques, and one of them is a Hockey Hall of Famer. Who were those brothers? Any idea, Rich?
No, I'm over here looking at my screen.
I thought you were trying to Google it.
No. I'm trying to figure out my computer over here.
All right. Well, the answer is the Stasny brothers.
Yes, Stasny.
It was Peter, Anton, and Marion.
Yes, Stasny. That's it.
You know, that's back then, Czechoslovakia was behind the Iron Curtain in the Eastern Bloc, so they actually had to defect out of there, which was quite risky for them to come over.
Yeah.
At that particular time. It's a very interesting story. If you ever get to read up on it or look it up,
wasn't there a documentary too? It was like the
Yeah, it was in Canada. It was produced by Total Sports Network in Canada.
Yep.
So you got to kind of dig for it, but it's really interesting.
Yeah, you guys were talking about it last season. I wanted to watch it, and I never got a chance. I'm always forgetting things, and then man. So that's on the dock.
All right,
this year I'm going to get it done.
The to-do list.
We were going along so good last night. I'm like, yeah, and then of all things, Erica wanted to go look for a couch, so I had to take her down there. And it was so funny because she's been doing this weird symbol lately. Like, we went and we looked at this couch that has the motors in it, where you can kind of recline and all that stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so all of a sudden, she wanted that couch, and she's been sitting there, like, the whole week, and every time I look over, and she goes, and that's her symbol, like, go get the couch. So, yeah. Craziness. Well, hey. I don't know why I told you that story, but spill some spots. So let's jump back into it. We got to talk about the West real quick here, and I'm looking at Yoshi. You guys were pretty close on almost everything. The first one you guys both had for your pretenders is Anaheim, and for Travis, who's chiming in, he said, "What happened? Yoshi hurt his back." Carrying Scott last week. Oof, man.
Well, Travis, if it makes you feel any better, any of us would hurt our back carrying you.
Wow,
so,
there you go. No, actually, Travis, we were saying he's sick. He's got like the swine flu this week, so he'll be back next week. But Anaheim, so let's talk about that. Now, why do you guys both have Anaheim as one of your pretenders?
Well, let's be perfectly honest. They are way overachieving right now. Mm-hmm. Now, there is talent on that team, but there's not enough. I mean, John Gibson is one of the best goaltenders in the league. It pains me to say that, but it's true. It's very true, as a matter of fact. And Ryan Miller is a great backup. Mm-hmm. But where's the depth coming? Where's the scoring depth coming from? It's simply non-existent.
Yeah.
And you look at their defense after Cam Fowler, what's there? There's nothing. Josh Manson's going to be out for some time. All right. Brian Getzlaff has been their captain forever. He's been, I think, like 15 years with them.
I was going to say, there's some age on that.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be slowing down. He's off to a good start, but Adam Henrique is who Adam Henrique is. Mm-hmm. Ricard Raquel really hasn't been lighting it up for him. Jacob Silverberg has been all right, but after you get that, I mean, Sam Steele's been pretty good coming up from the minors for him. I don't see how they're going to be able to sustain this, though. I mean, they're winning a lot of tight games, so that's good that you win tight games, but eventually that regresses back to the mean.
Yeah.
You know? And I just truly don't believe there's enough depth in Anaheim for this to keep up. Not with the current situation, anyway.
Now, see, you have somebody also on your list here, San Jose. And I'm a little bit shocked by this one. Not too shocked, but Anaheim, yes, I can see them kind of falling out. San Jose, I think that they might pick it up a little bit. I mean, they have to. They're
last in the division right now.
Yeah, I think they're dead last in the West, aren't they?
I think so, actually. I don't.
You don't think they're going to?
I don't.
Really?
I really don't. This team got old in a hurry.
Yeah? Okay.
It really did. And everything seems to be going wrong for San Jose this year.
Mm-hmm.
Martin Jones has been putrid. To be perfectly honest, I mean, they hitched their star to this guy.
They did.
He's going to be our number one. They gave up a first rounder to get him. They signed him to a 5 or 6 year contract, and he's average at best. And they got nobody to push him. Aaron Dell.
Yeah, goaltending is going to be a problem on that.
Goaltending, not only is goaltending the problem, just overall, the whole team's just off. They're in complete disarray. Everybody thought, oh my God, when we got Erik Karlsson, that's the answer. Well, no, it's not, because in the NHL or any hockey team, I truly believe as far as defenseman goes, you have to have just one number one. That's a position in the league that you cannot have people sharing.
And they had that.
Right? So you got Brent Burns and you got Erik Karlsson. One of them needs to be the number one, and the other one's got to be the second fiddle. That's just how it works. You can get away with that as for goaltenders, as we can see with the 1B, 1A, 1B.
Sure.
It works out okay for Toronto when both Matthews and Tavares are healthy, but you can even see with Toronto, like with Morgan Riley and Tyson Barrie. Now, remember when they traded for Tyson Barrie, like, oh, he's going to Morgan Riley's going to be back on the second power play unit and all. No, Morgan Riley's held his ground, and Tyson Barrie is all of a sudden not the go-to guy, and he's not responding well to it at all. And I think it's the same thing with San Jose. And not only that, like I said, that team is old.
Yeah.
It's old. Well, they got old in a hurry.
The sad thing about that is, I mean, we said that the window with them is really, really...
It's closing fast.
Yeah.
And they don't have a first-round pick next year.
Well,
because they went and re-signed Karlsson.
Yeah, they sold the farm when they did Karlsson.
And it's happening in San Jose right now? It reminds me of what happened to the LA Kings. They stuck with those guys for a little bit too long, and now they're stuck.
Yeah.
Now they're stuck. And to be perfectly honest with you, and I think we talked about this last week, I don't know about Logan Couture as the choice for a captain. I really don't. I'm still got a bad taste in my mouth over him calling out those two kids in the press.
Yeah, I can understand that. Totally understand that.
That is a classic sign of a team that is really starting to go south in a hurry.
Yep.
It really is. And, we talked about Mike Babcock being on the hot seat potentially. I think right now Mr. DeBoer's pants are starting to heat up a little bit. I do believe.
He's got some hot pants?
I think so. If you're starting to smell burning fabric, that's his pants starting to get a little... Oh, my God. And you know what the shocking part is, though, for as bad as San Jose has been this year? Guess who's got the best penalty-killing team in the league?
Do they have the best?
San Jose.
Really?
Go figure. So... Yeah, so you're not going to do very good when they're in the box, but just don't worry about it, because once they're out of the box, they're going to be terrible.
Yeah. So. I don't know. I don't think they're quite. Well, I mean, they're definitely not as bad as they're showing. I mean, that's dreadful, but I think they can turn it around a little bit. I got some faith in the big names on that team.
Well, and if they do, they do. That's
but their goaltending is they definitely need to address that.
Yeah,
if they're going to do anything.
I mean, that's just it. I mean, and how are they going to acquire anybody?
Yeah, they have no room.
They got nothing for draft picks. Their cap space is eaten up. I mean,
you need the goalie whisperer, the goaltender whisperer.
Yeah, well.
or did we say Mark Fleury shrink? We got
the sports psychologist. That's just it.
Marc-Andre Fleury, we need your shrink. Got to borrow him over there in San Jose. Now let's see. So,
Well, I highly doubt that because those two teams absolutely hate each other now.
So let's see. So that was your other one is Calgary, and Yoshi agrees with you on this. So you and Yoshi are both on the Calgary train, and why?
Calgary way overachieved last year. They really did, and how do I put this delicately?
You don't believe in Johnny Hockey?
Johnny Hockey is about the only one that him and Giordano are really the consistent. I mean, and I hate to say, Matt Tkachuk has really blossomed into almost pretty much a bona fide superstar in this league.
Yeah.
The problem is they are up and down. They're up and down. They're up and down. Past 4 seasons, they have been playoff team, miss, win the division, and now they're bobbing along around the wild card spot. I don't.
This is their slump year.
I think so. Okay. I think it's their slump year. I think their defense isn't as deep as it used to be.
Yeah.
And I don't think David Rittich is the answer. I don't. I think with him, he's one of those goaltenders you got to have a 1B. And Cam Talbot is not the 1B.
No, he's not.
He's certainly not. I think they made a big mistake letting Mike Smith walk out the door, and especially what he's doing in Edmonton.
Yeah,
you know,
you're absolutely right.
I mean, you want to talk about rivals that beat each other, right? Edmonton just destroyed Calgary by number one signing Mike Smith, and then they traded Lucic. They dumped that contract for James Neal.
That's true.
I mean, and look what James Neal's doing in Edmonton now.
Yeah,
you know, I'm not feeling
Lucic is doing in Calgary.
Can you see it? Because I can't.
I can't. Yeah, he's pretty non-existent. I was never a big Lucic fan to begin with.
No, I never was either. But the game's passed him by.
Yeah,
it really has.
Well, we said when they got him up in Edmonton,
they signed him to that 7-year, $49 million contract. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, that was stupid.
Yeah,
brought him in from Boston.
Well, the Kings gave up the farm to get him.
Yep,
and that was the beginning of the end.
Yeah, you're right.
It really was.
So, well, all right. So you guys, but not on Calgary, not on Anaheim, not on San Jose. Yoshi actually has Vancouver as his other pretender.
Well, we're going to disagree on that.
Yeah, I'm surprised he said Vancouver because obviously we talked the other week about the farm club which is Utica.
Well,
and they've got a lot of talent.
What usually happens, though, is when a team's been terrible for a long time and all of a sudden they're doing good, of course there's going to be skepticism.
Sure.
You know, do you want to just kind of filter right into...
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, because you have Vancouver as your contender.
Absolutely.
So let's go ahead and you can make a case for them.
I will. This team has been stocked. It's got young talent too. That's the thing.
Right.
Well, they have a great mix of young and veterans. Right. Look right from the top down. You got Elias Pettersson, who's been fantastic. Okay. Bo Horvat has been fantastic. You know, I like Jay Beagle down there in their bottom for their third line. JT Miller coming over from Tampa Bay. Now I thought they were a little crazy giving up a first round pick to get JT Miller. But, man, is he blended right in. Brock Besser's picking up where he left off. The whole team is clicking right now.
You got to love their goaltending, obviously.
I love their goaltending, but I also want to talk about Quinn Hughes, who's a Rookie of the Year candidate. Alex Edler, who has been an underrated defenseman for a very long time, but he was with Vancouver through the terrible years, so he always got kind of overlooked. But now they're starting to play well, and all of a sudden everybody's turning around and saying, whoa, where did this guy come from? Well, he's always been there. It's just he never had a chance to shine. Right? But the goaltending has been fantastic. You got Markstrom, who's playing for a new contract. Right? So, of course, isn't that how it always goes, too? Guys get in their contract year, and then all of a sudden they're world beaters, right?
Yeah, well, they're trying just a little bit harder. You know got to get that money.
But not only that, he's getting pushed by Thatcher
Demko's
whom
great.
We know watching him here in Utica was going to be a star.
Absolutely.
We knew it. So, and to top it all off, they have a fantastic coach, which we know from watching Utica too.
Absolutely.
Travis Green, no nonsense. He doesn't tolerate poor play. He doesn't tolerate stupid penalties or anything like that. So they have got almost the perfect storm going on right now.
Yeah.
And with that Pacific Division being as weak as it is, I'm telling you, they are going to get it. It's not going to be a wild card. They're going to be in that top 3 mix. I'm telling you right now.
So definitely a little bit of a disagreement there between you and Yosh.
Well, that's all right.
He thinks they're a pretender. You got them going in. All right.
We like to have a little debate on the show.
Yeah. We missed that.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see who you guys match up on your contenders here. You guys both had St. Louis. Much like Washington, I'm not going to go too much into that. If you win the Stanley Cup and you're leading your division, there's a good chance that you're still good.
Well, and they picked up Justin Falk in the offseason. Now, they did lose Vlad Tarasenko. So far, it hasn't affected them.
Right.
But we'll see going forward. That's going to be interesting to see what happens there. Because he's out for at least 5 months, they said.
5 months, oof.
Yeah. So potentially he could come back by the playoffs. We'll see.
Yeah.
But for right now, they got their system in place.
Yep.
And it's funny, the thing with St. Louis is it kind of goes along the same lines as like the Islanders and even the Capitals. They said, big physical hockey is dead and gone. That's it. No more. It's now all smaller, faster players. You got to be as fast as possible.
Yeah.
What's been winning?
You're right. You're absolutely right.
What wins in the end? So, and obviously Jordan Binnington is for real.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's outstanding, that guy.
Yep. So, kudos to the Blues.
You guys both had Nashville on here.
Yep. And I'll tell you why. Why I'm believing in Nashville again. Mm-hmm. They've learned how to score 5-on-5.
Okay.
That's been their bugaboo for a while. Scoring. Right now, Calle Jarnkrok has been a revelation for them. He's really come out of nowhere. Victor Arvidsson's been okay, and they're scoring without having much contributions from Philip Forsberg.
Right.
He's been all right. Ryan Johansson's been all right. All right. I mean, he hasn't been a lights out superstar by any stretch of the imagination. And boy, I bet you they wish they could have that Johansson for Seth Jones trade back.
Yeah, they probably do.
But Matt Duchene seems to be blending in really good over there in Nashville. And now the thing was, they moved PK out. So everybody, oh my God, what are they going to? Well, there and again, it goes right back to what I was saying before. You have to have one number one. And it was, PK and Roman Josi, almost internally battling each other for the spotlight or the number one spot.
Right.
That is now Roman Josi's. And he's been rewarded, obviously. He just signed a huge contract. What do you get, $8 million a year, something like that? Ryan Ellis has been solid. Matthias Ekholm has been solid. So overall, this team's playing very good. Now, what does make me nervous about Nashville, Pekka Rinne is 36 years old. He's been fantastic. But in the games that they've tried to give him a break, excuse me, UC Saros has been awful.
Which is shocking.
He's the guy that they were dependent on to take over the net for him.
Yeah.
And
he was solid.
Yeah, he was. He's been solid for the past couple of years in a backup role. But this year, I don't know if maybe he's just off to a slow start.
Yeah.
So is it time to panic yet with him? No. You don't pull the plug just yet.
Right.
But if this keeps up much past, say, the new year,
then you got to.
If you're Nashville, you got to start thinking about, okay, we maybe we need to go out and get another backup goaltender here, because if something happens to Rinne, they're in trouble.
And you're right. At 36 years old, the potential is very
exact. He's had hip problems already.
Yep.
So we'll see with that one. But overall, right now, I'm liking what I'm seeing out of Nashville, and the Central it's a strong division, but it's not the terrifying division that it has been.
Right.
There's a lot of parity there.
Yeah.
There really is.
You're right.
But those two big injuries in Colorado, Rantanen and Landeskog, has kind of almost brought the pack back together, with St. Louis starting to surge again. Winnipeg is still got a lot of talent, but they're a wild card team at this point if they get in.
What did they say the timetable on Landeskog is, do you know?
They're talking about another 4 to 6 weeks.
Oof, God almighty.
Yeah. And the same thing with Rantanen.
Yeah. That's rough.
And that's an eternity. Really, in hockey.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's two gone. Absolutely. That's rough.
Well, the thing with Colorado is they had to move Nazem Kadri up to the top line. So now all of a sudden, remember what the knock against Colorado was last year? You shut down their top line, you shut down Colorado.
And that was it. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, now guess what? They're back to that same boat until those guys get back. So
interesting. The other one that Yoshi had on here, and I can't argue with this one either, Edmonton. Edmonton is in the rebirth mode here, man. They from last year, they're back. I don't know if you agree with them for a contender, but
I wanted to put Edmonton down for a contender in the worst possible way.
But
because how do you not believe a team that's got Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl and that's playing well?
Right.
I'm in between. I'm a tweener on this one.
So you're not quite sold yet.
I think they're going to get in, to be honest with you. I think they are because Connor McDavid is hungry, and he's finally got a team around him that's actually somewhat decent.
Right.
Edmonton is very thin on D, though. They're very thin. Once you get past Oscar Klefbom, Adam Larson's hurt. Is Mike Smith going to come crashing back to earth? And if he does, you're depending on Mikko Koskinen.
Right.
So there's question marks. Everything's going right for them right now. It is. I mean, James Neal has a renaissance going on right now. But Edmonton is, I don't want to say they're a house of cards. They're a beautiful exterior. How's the structure underneath it?
Okay.
That's what I'm with reservation. I'll say they're a contender.
Yeah,
with reservation, though.
We've said it too with Koskinen. I mean, he's streaky.
Yeah, I mean, there's games where he's great, and then all of a sudden he'll just Swiss cheese. I mean, it's
3-4 games in a row. He's not.
Yeah, so
like 5-6 goals. You're like, what just happened?
Right. This was the guy that just shut out Colorado. Say, it's like,
right.
What?
Yeah, it's.
So with reservation, I'll agree with Yoshi.
Okay, all right.
But I think they're going to be players at the trade deadline too.
So that was it. You guys had the big discrepancy there with Vancouver and Edmonton. Otherwise than that, I got to tell you, you guys were pretty similar on almost everything.
I can't believe you didn't mention Vegas.
Yeah, no Vegas on this list at all, huh?
No, not at all. And they're another team that's like Nashville. If something happens to Fleury, they're done.
Does that pain you?
No, not one bit. Not one bit.
Your dislike for the Golden Knights is very well known. So good stuff, man. I can't wait till Yoshi gets back, though. I would have loved to have had him debate it a little bit. It's always kind of hard to debate for somebody else,
right? Right. That's just it.
But we'll get him back next week. Anyways, that's believe it or not. That's our hour.
And we should be back to our Monday next week, right?
Yes. Right. That was the other thing. We had some work conflicts that came up. So for anybody that was like, hey, I didn't see you on Monday. What's going on? That's what happened. We had work schedules that jumped in there, and we couldn't really make it in. But, we're still sticking to Mondays. We'll be back with you guys next Monday at noon, and hopefully Yoshi's better by then, and he can join us. Anything we didn't talk about today that we need to address?
I think we're all good. I just want to make sure everybody understands and knows that we're back on our Mondays next week.
Yeah.
And I think that's it. Vegas, Washington, probably the game of the week. This coming up this Saturday. That's going to be a good one to watch.
That'll be a good one.
Other than that, I mean, our Comets finally lost a couple games, but hey, we still got the faith.
I was working that game.
Right. Which one, the Providence or the Rochester game?
Both. And the first thing I thought is people are going to give me some crap here. Going, wait a minute.
Yeah, you're never allowed to work at the Adirondack Bank Center again. You're fired.
So you came in and we lost the 2 games. Get out! Yeah, I could just imagine.
I think we got to get the posters up for it. Picture of you in the hot dog costume with a red circle and a line through it.
Get this hot dog out of there. I promise I had nothing to do with it. Anyways, guys, we'll check back in with you next week. If you have any comments or if you want to talk about some of those teams, maybe you don't agree with us, feel free to leave us comments on there, and we will definitely look at them. And maybe we can even talk about that next week.
Absolutely.
So, good stuff. Anyways, thank you so much. Appreciate all your time, Scott.
Thank you.
And thank you, everybody, for tuning in. For Rich Masucci, for Scott Kimville, we'll talk to you guys next week. Take care. Enjoy the games. See ya.
Yeah.